Welcome back to Auto Street. Today we're diving into a deep, detailed look at a van that many refer to as iconic, timeless, and honestly kind of quirky, the Volkswagen Eurovan. Now, full disclosure, there is number 2026 production model called the 2026 Volkswagen Eurovan. The Eurovan was produced by VW in the late 1990s and early 2000s, so when someone says 2026 Eurovan, they might be mixing it up with something else, maybe the electric ID. Buzz. But since you asked for an Auto Street style review, I'm going to treat it like a hypothetical modern take, and we'll explore the real Eurovan, its interior, exterior, performance, and price, and imagine what a modern 2026 inspired version could look like. Let's start with the exterior. The Eurovan has that classic boxy camper van vibe. It's not a sleek SUV or a compact minivan, it's a van through and through, with a tall roofline, sliding doors, and a really utilitarian profile. On original models, you'd see large windows, practical proportions, and a rugged feel that hints at its camper van potential. In a modern reinterpretation, you could imagine the same shape but with updated lighting, smoother panels, maybe even eco-friendly materials in the bumpers, but keeping that character intact. The vintage Eurovan body is simple but strong, giving it presence, and for a 20-plus-year-old vehicle it stood the test of time in many cases. Now, moving inside to the interior, this is where the Eurovan really shines. In its day, it could seat up to 7 people, depending on configuration. The space feels very open for a van because of its tall roof and boxy shape, which makes it great for families or for converting into a camper. Some models came with a pop-top roof, like the Weekender, and modular seating so you could fold or remove seats to make room for gear, or even pop up the roof for sleeping space. The Eurovan's layout gave real flexibility. You could make a road trip van, a family minivan, or a little adventure rig. Materials in the original were typical of the era: durable cloth or leather seats, a fairly simple dashboard, and practical storage solutions. In a modern 2026 Eurovan, you'd probably see upgraded infotainment, maybe a touchscreen, USB ports, and more modern trim while still keeping the utilitarian DNA. The cargo capacity was solid, too, with seats folded or removed. You could haul quite a bit. For campers, the Eurovan was a canvas, sink, stove, water, or storage could be added. On to performance. Historically, the Eurovan came with a few engine options. For example, in the early 2000s the 2.8-liter VR6 engine delivering around 201 horsepower was common in full camper or passenger models. That engine gave it enough power to carry people and gear, though at highway speeds it wasn't exactly sporty. In fact, its 0 to 60 time was not lightning fast. Fuel economy reflected its size and weight, with around 15 miles per gallon in the city and something like 18 miles per gallon on the highway, depending on year and configuration. Transmission-wise, earlier versions used a 4-speed automatic, while later ones had 5-speed automatics. It was front-wheel drive, which helped with packaging but didn't lend itself to off-road antics. This is a road-going adventure van, not a heavy-duty 4x4. Braking and safety. The Eurovan had all-disc brakes and traction control, called anti-slip regulation, which made it more secure than some of its contemporaries. For driving impressions, some reviewers noted that once VW upgraded to the 201 horsepower engine, the van gained a fresh personality. The ride and handling improved, making it more enjoyable to drive for daily use. Now let's talk maintenance and real-world ownership, because that's where things get interesting. Eurovans are now old by modern standards. Many are over 20 years old, which means maintenance is a big factor. Owners often mention that parts can be hard to find, especially transmission parts. On some forums, folks warn that the automatic transmissions aren't a question of if, but when they'll fail. Because of its age, servicing a Eurovan may require a specialist, and reliability depends heavily on how well the van was maintained. On the flip side, people love the quirky, adventurous spirit. The pop-top, sleeper convertibility, and utility make these vans feel like a proper road trip companion. Finally, prices. Because there's number 2026 Eurovan, we're talking used/classic market numbers. According to various owner discussions, well-maintained Eurovans, especially camper versions, can still command a good price. Some vintage or converted models sell for tens of thousands, depending on mileage, condition, and how fully built out the camper features are. On Reddit, for instance, somebody mentioned a 1999 Eurovan camper with 88,000 miles priced at $19,500, noting concerns around the auxiliary battery and fridge functionality. Others say that parts and repairs can eat into value, so prospective buyers need to budget carefully. There is definitely a cool tax, people pay more for that vintage camper van charm. If we were to imagine a 2026 version of the Eurovan on AutoStreet, here's how things might shake out. It could be an electric van, maybe built on VW's MEB or a future EV platform, retaining the sliding doors, tall roof, and modular interior. Inside, you'd expect a modern infotainment system, eco-friendly upholstery, and flexible seating. The drivetrain would likely offer an electric motor, decent range, and regenerative braking for a van-sized battery. Price-wise, a brand new EV Eurovan in 2026 could cost significantly more than the original gas model, maybe comparable to other electric vans or EV SUVs, but you'd save on fuel and potentially maintenance. But, again, this is speculation, since no new Eurovan is actually on sale. To wrap this up, for AutoStreet viewers, the Eurovan is a fascinating vehicle. It's a blast from VW's adventurous past, and for